What's good everyone, my name's Zayas, and today I'm here to review Takemitsuzamurai. Takemitsuzamurai is a seinen manga written by Issei Eifuku and drawn by Taiyou Matsumoto. Although Issei is relatively unknown in the manga industry, Matsumoto is legendary, having drawn several award-winning manga such as Ping Pong and Sunny, the former of which having received an excellent anime adaptation. This manga ended up going from 2006 to 2010 and won an Osamu Tezuka Cultural Award Grand Prize. In spite of this, Takemitsuzamurai has received very little attention in the Western world and has had very little discussion surrounding it, despite its legendary status. The art might strike you as odd or weird at first, but as you keep reading, you realize that the art is incredibly beautiful and extremely captivating. Although the art is a little off-putting at first, I can see many viewers being scared off by it. I think you should definitely give this a try, as pretty much everybody I've seen who've read this has given it a lot of praise for its incredible artwork. A lot of what sets Takemitsuzamurai apart from other manga in terms of artwork is the traditional art. There are tons of panels in here that you would think could have been drawn back in the Edo period. I'll discuss the art in more depth later, but first let me cover the characters and the plot. In terms of the plot, it's extremely similar to the dozens of samurai manga that were getting pumped out from the early 2000s all the way into the early 2010s. However, I don't necessarily consider this a bad thing. Our protagonist is a mysterious samurai with a troubled past who has managed to run away from his fears. Like in similar series to this, such as Cowboy Bebop and Sword of the Stranger, eventually our protagonist is forced to go back and face his fears. Even if the plot isn't unique in many ways, I think the situation that arises from it is unique enough to hold my interest. Of course, at the moment I'm telling you this, the mystery is sort of solved. But when you start reading this mystery is quite real, and it'll have you curious as to what's going to happen next. We have to watch Seno make a tough decision between the life he's destined for and the life that he quite enjoys. Seno is quite an intriguing character. He has a profound value for life. He enjoys doing mundane tasks, and he gets along well with others. However, at the same time, he has a murderous demon lurking inside of him. He is considered strange and ostracized by many. However, at the same time, he's considered a great leader by others and considered very charismatic. It is his destiny to become somebody great, and he likely knows this from the start. However, he chooses to live in some small village with little to no money. His sword skills are incredible, perhaps the greatest in the nation. However, he uses a bamboo sword. Overall, the character is just filled with contradictions, and by the end of the story, we never really know what he truly wanted. His nemesis, Shinosuke, is surprisingly similar to Seno, although we don't get to see him as much. He has his own entourage. He is strange in his own ways, and he too has a demon lurking inside of him. In a lot of ways, Shinosuke is just there to remind us of destiny. What would have happened to Seno if he wasn't the son of a noble? What would happen if he was the son of some poor farmer? You come to learn a lot about these characters, even if it's not expressly told directly to the reader. And I really enjoyed this method of storytelling, as you really have to think a lot about what happened to these characters. There's certainly an air of mystery throughout the entire show. However, this is all to highlight the main star of the show, which is the artwork. Reading through this thing made me feel as if this deserved to be in some sort of art museum. Every 2 or 3 chapters have notably exceptional art. Matsumitsu's art choices are always strange and outlandish. However, in Takemitsuzamurai, he goes a step further, doing stuff like drawing characters' faces off of their heads and many other strange things. I think this strange style, along with a mixture of feudal Japan, is a great choice because it creates this unique image of feudal Japan in our heads. Another thing to mention about the art style is that I like how it uses this traditional Japanese folklore to sort of show you what the characters are like. For example, Seno is very fox-like, and Shinosuke is extremely rat-like. Darkness is something that I think is used very well in this manga. There are panels that are pitch black with the characters inside, or sometimes half the panel is just covered by darkness, and I love these type of panels. I think it creates quite an impressive image. All of the surreal elements to the artwork contribute to the pacing of the story feeling extremely smooth. You can definitely read this in one sitting despite it being 83 chapters, and it doesn't take you that long to get through. I also like how the dialogue is relatively sparse in the manga. Of course, there's an ample amount of text, especially between the main characters. However, there are definitely a lot of moments where the author will sort of use pretty much no dialogue and opt for a picture-based storytelling method. Takemitsuzamurai manages to touch on pretty much every aspect of life. There are moments of sereneness, moments of sorrow, moments of happiness, and everything in between in this manga. I would also like to mention that Takemitsuzamurai is pretty much exactly the style that I like, similar to Vagabond and all these other type of manga with lots of riddles, with lots of mountains and small towns and samurai just wandering around. I really love this archetype. Although nothing extremely out of the ordinary ends up happening in this manga, it does leave you feeling like you've just read a folk tale with all the different depictions of Japanese mythology in this thing and all the Edo-like artwork. Another thing to note is that curves are sort of used frequently in this manga to give it a strange sort of feeling where things are a little more twisted, a little more bent than they really should be. This thing can definitely be addictive at times, feeling like you're kind of being consumed by this manga world, turning page after page just to see what comes next. A lot of the philosophies and talks of destiny don't really seem to come from a new place at all. These have all been explored before in other manga and philosophy itself. However, I think in conjunction with this incredible artwork, which is sort of a throwback to traditional Japan, I think it combines to create quite a great story. Overall, Takemitsuzamurais artwork is just groundbreaking and innovative. And if you are a fan of samurai historical manga, you will definitely want to read this. Pretty much every few pages has some incredible sort of artwork. I'll probably try to display just a few of the hundreds of pages that I could up here somewhere. The last fight is a great example of this. Page after page after page, the artwork just keeps improving and is incredible. When the artwork really gets crazy good is when these demons start to come out of these characters. And this is when they decide to go all out and create these incredible fight scenes. The demons inside these characters are pretty much unexplained for the most part. The only thing you can really think of the two having in common is that they've had very troubled pasts. But is this the reason they have demons inside of them? I don't know. It's really not that big of a deal, and I don't think they need to explain it. The ending to this thing isn't surprising at all. However, it is very open-ended and leaves you with a lot of questions. Is your path in life decided by your destiny on the day that you are born? Are people capable of change? Did Senno really want to become a lord? None of these questions are answered by the manga. However, I like that it gives you some questions to think about after it is ended. Also, going back to the fight scenes in terms of paneling or choreography aren't anything special. However, in terms of artwork itself, it's crazy good. The characters morph closer and closer to demons as they fight, becoming complete wild animals. And I am completely blown away by some of the artwork that happens in these last few fights. On a side note, there's not much comedy in this thing, but the one time the cats were talking about how the town was reeking of blood, and they were talking about how they'd like to leave, and in the next panel it said meow. I thought that was pretty funny, even if it was just pretty much the only joke in the series. These slice-of-life moments are critical to our understanding of Senno as a character, his love for life, his love for the mundane things, and just getting along well with people in general. However, at some point it feels as if it's a bit much and the point is already gotten across, and there's just several chapters where there's not much plot occurring. It does hurt the pacing of the manga just a tiny bit, but I wouldn't really say it's a big deal at all. Overall, I'm feeling a decent to strong 9. This is incredibly good. Probably won't see a manga like this in a while. Thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like the video. Comment everything. Next up will be Oyasumi Punpun.